Hello and welcome to Speak Podcast. I'm super excited that you guys are all here. Chat is already lit. If you are not listening live, then maybe you should come through at 2 p.m. Eastern. We are on episode 16. Woo woo. And today we have, of course, the one and only Luca.
Sup? No, just kidding. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm happy to be here. Happy to have my brother, Newf here. I'm looking forward to today's show. Daz, baby, well wishes to your daughter, bro. I'm here for you. If you need anything, just DM me, bro. But, yeah, looking forward to the show and hope it's a good one.
And, of course, we have Mr. Newf Nukem.
Yeah, it's Newf Nukem up in this room, dropping the boom, baby. Let's get ready to roll. Thank you, ladies, so much for having me on the Speak Podcast. Since it is episode 16, it's actually interesting that I was born on the 16th of July, so it's kind of cool that I came in on the 16th episode. All coincidental, of course, but thanks so much for having me here. I'm really excited to roll this. It's actually really nice as well and refreshing to chat about lots of topics that are non-game related for a change as well. So maybe people will get more insight on who Newf Nukem is outside of, the video game conundrum.
Definitely. Tell us a little bit about yourself and like what you do.
All right, I'll start off with saying that, yes, I am 41. I'm an old geezer in the video game podcast world. Yes, there are some people out there older than me, like Lethal Papa. Shout out to Lethal. But yeah, I'm an older gamer. Obviously, grew up on the Sega Genesis generation, even going back to the Atari 2600. I've always had an affliction and love for gaming. I fell into the podcast community just a little over a year ago when the one and the only Mooch had me on Crossfire, and due to, I guess, a relatively decent debut, I was invited to a few other podcasts, and the rest is more or less history. So that's in a nutshell. I am a multi-console owner. I love any console that has a great game, and that's pretty much all of them. But I do tend to play mostly on Xbox. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
Nice. I'm super excited to have you here. Like, I think I said that, but I'll say it again. And I'm super glad that
Yeah, stop repeating yourself.
Listen, I would appreciate some respect on my show, please.
I'm sorry, ma'am. This is our show, and I only give respect to those who deserve it. Yes.
Ma'am. Anyhow. So, I'm super excited that you're here, and I'm glad that...
You said that. This is the third time
you said it. Oh my God, let me finish my thoughts. Forget it. I lost my train of thought. Yeah. So, yeah, let's get into the show. And freaking Luca, hopefully she will stop with her nonsense.
I'm trying to get the show to end early, like Dirty said, so I can go play Destiny. Yeah, so...
You're obsessed.
Yep.
Okay, wow.
That's all she's thinking about on this show. She's just got Destiny syndrome going on right now. That's all she can think about.
Let's get into our questions. So, of course, during question time, we like to ask the questions that you guys might have so that you can get to know us a little better. Question number 1, drum roll. No. What's the most interesting thing near your job or home? Newf, tell us.
Oh boy, most interesting thing next to my job or my home. Well, I have to unfortunately say that I'm unemployed at the moment. I've been unemployed for a couple of months. I was a radio DJ. I spent 4.5 years doing it, and due to some internal politics and things, I decided it was time to move on, and just the opportunity hasn't really come around to get back into that line of work yet, but I'm hoping that something will turn up at some point in time. If not, I do have a few irons in the fire. But in terms of interesting things, I don't know. I guess I'm pretty close to Rogers Place Arena, which is the brand new multi-million-dollar stadium in Edmonton, Alberta, and it's the home of the Edmonton Oilers hockey team. And to me, that's interesting because I love hockey. I love watching the sport. I love the Oilers. Lots of great concerts coming there and going there, which is nice because since they built this new stadium, we're getting artists that formerly would often avoid Edmonton on the leg of the trip, but now they can hold more people and they have better shows. It's pretty awesome. Outside of that, my city is kind of boring in general, but yeah, I guess that's about it, really. To be honest, sorry to have such a lame answer for you, but
No, you're
yeah, that's all
fine.
I can
That's
come up
pretty
with.
cool. It was. I didn't. That's cool that you were a DJ. I mean, you have the voice to kind of
Yeah,
be on
four
the
and a half
radio.
years for the
That's pretty
local radio
awesome.
station here. I was a drive show host and then a morning show host.
Awesome. Sucks that you have to, that you're dealing with being in between positions. We've all been there. Most of us have been there. So
Yeah.
hopefully you find something soon.
Oh, yeah.
Luca, what about you?
The most interesting thing near my house is a theater. It's like a mini theater where like little kids perform and stuff like that. It's really cute, and I like it. I like it a lot. I've
Aw.
been there a couple of times. I like musicals and the theater and the arts and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool to me. I could never like perform any of that stuff because I'm too nervous, like too anxious with that.
Yeah,
Get stage fright, but it's cool to watch.
that's cute. The most interesting thing near my job is there's just a beautiful, beautiful park nearby, and it's really nice because in the city it's often hard to find just like green, just plants and grass and things like that. Like with all the concrete, it's the concrete jungle. It's hard to like find like a nice untouched place. And I mean, the park nearby, it's near the water, so it's really calm and serene, and it's super beautiful. And I like going there every time I have like a hard day. I'll like just go out there and sit and just relax a little bit. And I think it's definitely a place that I would bring someone if they came and visited and asked that question, like what's the most interesting area, because there's always it's always awesome to have a nice serene spot, for thinking or just for like chatting. And I feel like that's the spot. So yeah, that's my answer for that question. The next question is, what is the best advice you've received about love that has helped with your relationships?
I got
Luca,
this.
go.
So, all right. The best advice I ever received was do not do anything for anyone else expecting anything back. So someone once told me that no one owes you anything. So even if you give your all in a friendship or relationship and just like give, the person that you're giving to doesn't owe you anything.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing things, make sure you're doing it because you want to do it, not because you feel like you have to do it and because you're expecting something back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's helped a lot because it's made me be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do this for this person, but it's just going to be because I want to do it for them, because I care about them, not because I'm expecting anything. And it's really helped me with a lot of my relationships.
That's actually really awesome. That's a great piece of advice. Yeah, that's really good. I thought you were gonna joke around or something, say something stupid.
I always say things that make sense. I never say anything that's stupidness.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Newf?
Use a condom.
Oh boy.
No, in all seriousness, yes, of course, people use a condom, especially if you're not sure who you're going to be dating or where they've been, who they've been with. But in all seriousness, some of the best advice that I've been given, and something that I think every relationship should take very seriously, is don't spend most of your time and efforts trying to change the person that you are in love with or trying to fall in love with, because you have to accept them for who they are, especially when you meet them, because there's a lot of relationships where people try to mold the other person, and it's like, you know what, you got to fall with the right person the first time. Like it's pointless to try to change them and try to make someone be something that they're not, or love them for things that, or want to love them for things they may never be. Like accept them for who they are, encourage them in a lot of different ways. Be constructive, but be open-minded as well, that sort of thing in a relationship, because there's nothing worse than dating a controlling asshole or a controlling bitch, whatever you want to call it, that constantly have their fingers into every aspect of your life, always giving you their opinions like they matter all the time. I mean, yes, your partner's opinions and stuff do matter, but like for me, I learned in early relationships, I had some girls that really had an issue with my video games. And it was, again, it's about finding balance, but it was never a balance. It was never enough. It mattered if I played 10 minutes a day or 3 hours a day. They were always bitching. And that to me, it's like, nope, I'm out. Same thing. I had another girl that had an issue because I played hockey, and a lot of it was just got a jealousy. She didn't want me to go to tournaments because she was afraid that I might be like the stereotypical jock guy or whatever that go out and sleep with a girl on the road. It's like, you got issues, man. So put those shit to bed. So again, people, love the person you're with for who they are when you meet them. And take things kind of slow, like learn who they really are and try to love the little things, not fret over other things. And usually the relationship will be fine if you can find a good compromise and like I said, and love them for who they are genuinely. Things should be okay.
That's a good one too. You guys have good pieces of advice. That's awesome. My advice, I mean, the one that was given to me, is that you have to be happy, right? And I feel like people oftentimes when they get into a relationship forget about themselves, and this is definitely not something to be, I'm not saying be selfish and your happiness is more important than the person that you're with or the friend that you have. It's not. It's just that you have to remember that you have to love yourself and you can't depend on the love of another. And so once you love yourself and you yourself are happy, you can then, lend that, you can care for someone so much more. You know how if you're in an airplane and they tell you to put your mask on first before you help others, it's the same idea. If you yourself are not happy, then you can't give someone your all, And if you both are happy, then you are able to then partake in the relationship a bit more in a healthy way. And I think that's important for relationships, and people forget that sometimes. Anyhow, let's move on to our next question. I do think Luca lost connection, but we are going to continue, and when she comes back, she can answer. The question
Trying
is,
to play Destiny. I had to break it to you.
She probably just went and just like, forget about this show. What was the first thing you bought with your own money is the last question. What about it, Newf? What did you buy with your...
First thing that I bought with my very own money. Here's a good one. And it is video game related. Some of you guys are going to like this. Very first job I basically had was as I guess like a tourist laborer. Like I would go on a tour boat and I would, give people information and advice about the islands and different things that we would go to. Mm-hmm. And I was also like a laborer as well. But basically with the money earned from that first summer job that I had, I saved up and bought myself a Sega Saturn. I do believe this was in 1995. And if I remember at the time, I do believe the Saturn cost me just about $500, which was a lot of money. Boy. But yeah, that's what I bought with it. Sega Saturn. I loved it. That was the console. I mean, like I said, I was always a big Sega kid. The PlayStation came out shortly thereafter, but I was always excited about Sega. And that's what I bought with my money. I think it was a pretty damn kick-ass first purchase.
That's nice. Oh, hi.
Sorry about that. My brother disconnected the internet. His girlfriend's here, so I don't know what the fuck they're doing down there, but whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. We're just answering what's the first thing you bought with your own money.
Oh, okay. Keep going, Newf.
The first... Oh, are you done, Newf?
I'm done, yeah. I bought a Sega Saturn,
Yeah. Which is awesome because, gamer over here. It's pretty awesome that your first purchase was... I mean, so... My first job, as you guys know, because I've said it before, was working at a shoe store. And, I mean, I wish I had a cool story, but the first thing that I used my first check for was to finally pay my own cell phone bill. I was 16 when I started working, and so I wanted independence because, teenagers. I wanted independence from my mother, and so I decided that I wanted to just start paying my own bills and buy my own food and help with the house a little bit and buy groceries for everyone and things like that. So I guess nice grown up thing there that I did. And it made me feel good. It made me feel like I was finally growing up and not having to depend on my mom, although I was still living in her house. So obviously, you know, I was like in a dreamland, but still it was cool to be able to do my own thing.
But it's great, isn't it? Like having your money, your own money, especially for the very first time. Like those purchases are things in your life that you will never forget. You know what I mean? Because of that first step into adulthood and responsibility. That's a great story. You know, it doesn't matter what you worked at or how you got your money. It's just that, again, that next step into becoming an adult and taking responsibility for yourself. That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was nice having my own money until I grew up, and now I have my own money, but also like my money goes to everything else but me. No, I'm just kidding. But it was nice at first. I definitely was balling. I had 2 phones. I was like buying a whole bunch of things that I definitely did not need. I mean, everyone always tells you, hey, you gotta, you know, be smart with your money. But when you're young, you're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy all this, go shopping, get sneakers, and just like show off my new stuff to all my friends. So it was nice while it lasted. Now I'm just like, yeah, bills, bills, bills. Nice. Someone bought their first phone with their money. That's awesome. Yeah, it's good. It's a nice feeling to be able to get your check. First of all, when I got my check, it wasn't that much, but I was just like, what? My first check? Like, I was so excited. It was amazing. The best feeling ever.
Yeah, and usually your first checks, like they don't have to be a lot of money, but they seem like a lot of money to you because you were normally either getting an allowance or you'd have to wait to get like some money given to you at a birthday or Christmas,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
A lot of times. So when you get like you see a check and it's got, you know, $300 or $400 even, like that's a chump change to a lot of people, but you're just like, yeah, you know. I'm pretty sure a lot of my Newfoundland friends who were working their first jobs, I'm sure they probably went out and bought a case of beer, and it probably would have sounded like this. I turned on Jesus, buddy boy. I went down to the store and we saw me $20 bills, and I bought myself a 6-pack of beer and a pack of smokes. Boy, that's what I got.
What about you, Luca? What did you get with your first check?
My first check, I bought a TV. And it's actually the TV
Damn,
I have now.
what the fuck? What kind of money were you making?
It wasn't a big TV. It was like pretty cheap. I went to H.H. Gregg with my grandma, and we picked it out, and I've had this TV since I was 19. I'm updating this year, but it's actually pretty cool.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Nice. All right,
Nice.
so
I
nope, not a TV. My bill was maybe like, I don't know, $70 or something. Definitely was not buying a TV with my first check.
Oh, well, I had more than that. So.
Yeah, I know. I can see.
You made sure your cell phone bill was paid so you could speak.
Oh.
Then and now into the future.
I see what you did there. I see. All right, let's move on to our first topic. Topic number 1, guys. Today we're going to be talking about people telling others what they should buy with their money. With all the new tech coming out, you know, iPhone, Xbox, those kinds of things. We won't get into details, but there are a lot of people that feel the need to tell others that they shouldn't waste their money on these new things, even though, you know, the person may originally have posted how they're excited because they pre-ordered or they are planning on pre-ordering this new piece of technology. And so the issue, or what we will just be discussing, is why are people so concerned with how you spend your money? What do you guys think?
I think it's because people are
first on the floor.
Yeah, I think it's because people are nosy. They can't fucking help themselves. I genuinely do not understand everyone's need to like butt in and give their unsolicited advice and opinions about things. Maybe it's because for some odd reason people don't seem to realize that we as individuals are different, hence the word individual, and therefore we don't always think the same way as them. Now, I've gotten into conversations with a couple of people who've been like, well, take the iPhone for instance, like, well, I wouldn't buy the iPhone because it's like a older tech and it's more money. I can't comprehend why someone else would. And I said that to that person. I'm like, well, you don't need to comprehend why that person would get it because it's their money and they can do whatever they want. You don't have to be concerned about what other people are doing with their money. It's not personally affecting you. And he's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess you have a good point there. And I just want to point out I have nothing but good points. So there's that. But it's just like, I don't really get it because I'm not getting a new iPhone. I really do not care enough to do that. But a lot of my friends want to, and I see people like adding them like, well, this phone, like this Galaxy phone had this tech like years ago, and why would you spend that much money for this when you can just get this and all this stuff, right? And I'm just like, mind your business. Why are you so concerned about what other people are doing with their money? Like, why do you need to count other people's money? As Tony says in the chat, like, I don't get it. Like, get out of my pocket. What someone does with their hard-earned money that they go to work 40 plus hours a week for is none of your business. You don't need to concern yourself with it. Do you want, like, people need to think about these things and just internalize it before they say it and say to themselves, hey, would I want someone coming to me and telling me what I should do with my money? And the answer to that is no. I personally do not want anyone saying anything to me about how I spend my money because I know how to manage my money and I don't get anything I can't afford, and I get whatever I want because it's my money. I go to work for it, and unless you're paying my bills and cutting me a check, I need you to shut the fuck up and get out of my pocket, please and thank you.
Get out of my pocket. Sounds like a name for a song, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
I feel that a lot of people have been really vocal about what people are spending. I mean, it's been happening, right? Whether it's a super popular thing or if it's like a game or if it's like something super small. If you mention that you're buying something, people oftentimes have an opinion on what you're doing with your life, even though it's your life. But what about you, Newf? What are you thinking?
Well, I don't care if you want to take your money, buy 5 boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts, and then spend the rest of the money getting Botox for the craters in your ass cheeks. I really don't care. Like, honestly, what you do with your money is your choice. You work hard for it, or maybe you don't work for it at all, and it comes in via a government check. But either which way, it doesn't matter how or where you get your money. It is your money. So, as long as you're not hurting somebody else with that money, so you're not planning to buy a Scud missile launcher and blow up my house next week, I really don't give a rat's dinkly fuck. Honestly, like, I'm always happy for people that go out and buy some really cool shit, But I think a lot of times people often, it's part jealousy because some people will end up, they just sit back, you know what I mean? They become the, what do you call it? The social warriors on the internet, and they see these pictures and stuff, and they're a little bit jealous because maybe they don't have the money to buy that game or they don't have the money to buy the console. And I know that sucks. We've all been there. Some of us are still there. There's always going to be rich people in this world. There's always going to be poor people in this world. And there's going to be people in between. And sometimes you just got to wait a little bit longer. But I always think that if you really want something bad enough, you will find the means to get it. I mean, hell, dope dealers and crackheads do it all the time. They always seem to find money for that shit. But it's your money, man. Do what you got to do with it. I don't really care. At the end of the day, it doesn't affect me. I'm always happy for people that are able to get stuff that they want. You know what I mean? I think don't gloat about it. I mean, don't rub it in people's faces, that you went out and bought your $10,000 TV or, 10 freaking Xboxes. I mean, that's all cool and I'm happy for you. But, shoot it out and then kind of leave it alone. Like, don't rub it in. But like I said, where you want to spend your money, it's up to you. It is again your money, and hopefully, like I said, you don't end up like with your money doing something that hurts people around you. For example, like I would be concerned about say if I had a child, I'd be concerned about what they're doing with the money. If say in term could lead to health issues or getting them killed or something. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of our parents, when you're young, they say, well, it's your money, and then you go out and you buy your video game with it, and then you come back and they give you crap about it. It's like, well, you said I can buy what I want it, but you know, games are always looked at as child's toys and kids things, so apparently they're not necessary. But no one gives a shit, you know, if you go down and you spend $40 on a KFC snack box or something, you know. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm just going to say I don't really care what people do with their money. It is your money to do what you please. Whatever makes you happy, then go to it, my friends.
I think it's interesting though that people feel like even if someone's posting it on social media that they are entitled to an opinion. I do think that if you're posting something on Twitter, let's say for example, I don't know, you post, I feel as though you post with like knowledge that someone might be doing something stupid and commenting how they feel on your post, right? That's just how it is on social media. I'm not saying people should do it. I'm just saying that if you are on social media, you should expect it. But when strangers feel entitled to comment on your business, it's very bothersome. And I feel like, first of all, I don't go around doing that. Like, I don't go around Twitter telling people, hey, I don't think it's a good idea for you to buy this game or for you to buy this tech. I mean, unless someone's posting, do you guys think I should buy this? Then I don't think it's your place to tell them what they should be, you know, spending their money on.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Take, for instance, I got a message in one of the other podcasts I do, chat, and someone was just like, wow, I have steaks that are older than Luca. Can she really afford
Wow.
an Xbox One X and a 4K TV with like the thinking face emojis? And I did like a huge spiel, right? Like I typed out like a long reply, and like, okay, so I was like, first of all, it's Luca with a C because they spelled it wrong. Second of all, it's really not that hard to manage your money unless you're completely incompetent and lack impulse control. This may be hard for you to fathom considering the fact that you couldn't stop yourself from leaving this asinine comment. Third, you don't need to be concerned about with what I can and can't afford because quite frankly, it's none of your business. Sorry if you didn't have your shit together when you were my age. So I wrote all that out, right? And then I was like, you know what? It's really not worth it. Like, it's not worth it because honestly, who cares? People are always going to comment on that stuff. I wish they would shut the fuck up, but you know.
Oh, I'm proud of you.
I mean, like, you know,
You're
impulse
learning.
control. Like impulse control. Like I'm learning a bit too. I'm trying to keep my anger issues to a minimum and not go off on people like this. You know, the slightest thing. I'm trying. So
A lot of the times these people do this on purpose for that exact reaction. There's a lot of people that do stupid ass shit for attention, and honestly, it's not worth it a lot of the time. Like, you're right, it's just not worth your time, you know. But at the same
Absolutely.
time, like, oh, sometimes it feels so good to slap them down.
that's the only reason I do it is because I like putting people in their place.
It just sometimes it does feel good. I mean, that goes into another question of ours, like what do you do when someone does decide to comment on your post? I know you didn't do it this time, Luca, but what do you usually do?
I feel like everyone already knows what I usually do.
Tell
like,
us.
I tell people to mind their business. I'm like, it's none of your business. Mind your fucking business. I did not ask you for your opinion. Go someplace else. And they usually say, well, I was just saying, Luca, like, you didn't have to be such a bitch about it. Like, fucking crying, right? And I'm like, you should know better. People know better at this point because I have, like, there'd be moments where I make a quick comment on something and someone's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I should have untagged you. I didn't mean, I was, like, because they know. People fucking know already, and no one wants to deal with this, okay? No one wants this work. So it's usually people who don't know me who think they can, like, leave messages like that to me, like, you know, like, and then I let them know who I am. I let them know who the fuck I am, and that's the end of it. And I don't see them again after that. Like, they don't come back, so.
Yeah, you know when people say talk to the hand, I'm pretty sure Luca invented that.
Oh, God. What do you usually
You
do?
know, me personally, I haven't had an issue with that. Nobody yet has come out on social media and told Newf, you know, this is what you should do with your money. I have every once in a while, though, you do get somebody like I get more of this is like, Newf, I wouldn't buy that game. I'm not buying it. And, you know, and we're seeing that a lot with the Destiny. And Luca, you can probably attest to this. You see people being happy that they bought Destiny and really enjoying the game, right?
Yeah.
And they post up they're happy, but you notice how many people that got to chime in on your comment right after and say, I'm not buying it. I didn't buy that piece of shit. You know what I mean? It's like, who asked you? Like, who gives a crap? You didn't buy it? Whoop-de-fucking do.
And you're just like, what makes you think I care? Is really what is the question that goes through my mind all the time. Like, I feel like I say this often, but for some odd reason, everyone thinks that their opinion matters all the time when it really doesn't.
Yeah, I don't care that people went out and spent their money on Halo Wars 2. I wouldn't spend 10 cents on that game. I'm not into RTS games, but I don't tell people, "Oh, that was such a stupid choice, man. You could have spent your $70 or $60 buying a different game." Like I'm like, "Cool, man, you bought it. I hope you like it. Good for you." That's all I say.
Yeah, I don't usually post what I'm buying on social media because I don't feel like people I don't personally I don't care if people know what I'm doing. If anything, people know that I'm like doing something based off of like my replies maybe on other people's posts, and then that's when I see like people saying, or if I'm talking about it on my stream or something like that, then people give me their opinions and I'm just like, yeah, I don't care what you think, sorry, and then not sorry. I don't know if people get offended if you tell them like, listen, I don't care that you don't like that I'm buying this. First of all, you shouldn't. Like, that's number one. You shouldn't get offended if someone tells you they don't care because they didn't get offended by you saying that they're basically stupid for buying something that you don't think they should buy, because that's really condescending. You telling someone that they shouldn't do something that they decided that they're going to do, especially if it's something kind of not that big of a deal as a purchase. You know, it's not like someone saying, hey, I'm gonna jump off this roof now, or hey, I'm gonna, you know, I don't know, stick this up my nose or something. Like, what are you, no one's asking, and you telling us not to do something is not based off of like you're trying to help us. It's not like it's not like you care and you're trying to be a nice person. No, like you're being a dick basically. And I would appreciate if you would take that dickliness and move on to someone else's post, and maybe then you'll have some better luck.
Yeah. Dirty J brings up a good point in the chat. This is somewhat related to money, but about lending money to friends and destroying relationships. And he's very true. I just wanted to bring it up only because it's kind of tied in. And I gotta go with Dirty on that, man. If you're gonna lend money to a friend, make sure you know what you're lending it to them for, first of all, because a lot of times they lie to you. They say they need money for something serious, turn it around and spend it on some bullshit, and then they won't pay you back. And I always say, too, if you got to go chasing down your friends to get money back from them, that's not a good sign. Like, if they're going to pay you back, they're going to pay you back. You know, hey, I'm going to pay you back next paycheck. Well, it needs to be next paycheck. The thing is, you know, some of our friends, they take your friendship for granted and they take it too far, and some friends really get some friendships get destroyed over that. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest things, where I will end a friendship with someone no matter how much I care about them if they take advantage of my money situation, like if I give them money or anything like that. But at the same time, I don't give anyone money unless I just don't expect to never see it again. So I don't lend people money. I just give it to them. And if they say, oh, I'm going to pay you back, I'm like, okay. But I don't, like, when I give people money, I'm expecting to like never see it again. And that's the only way I'll give someone money. Because if I lend someone money and they don't pay me back, I'm through with them. Like, I'm through. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, I will end my relationship.
If I can afford to give them money, I would give them. And I'd be like you, Luke. I'd be like, hey, I'm going to give you this money, and if you pay it back, great. If you don't worry about it, because like I'm okay. I'm in a position in my life where I'm okay with that. But if say like I'm already strapped for cash, but what little I got left, I give it to a friend, and I tell them, usually, because if I tell them like I'd really like this paid back, that kind of means I'm doing you a solid here until you get some money to do back to me. But then if you're going to leave me high and dry, and then all all of a sudden I'm hurting because, you know, and I've seen people do this. You say, hey, I need money for like, I'm short on my rent for whatever reason, you know, because my kid had to go to the doctor or blah, blah, blah. But then all of a sudden you notice that the weekend shows up and they've got, you know, $100 you spent on booze and weed or whatever it is that they want it. And you're like, what the F? Like, you know what I mean? You owe me that money. And here you are gallivanting around, you know?
Yeah, money is a tricky subject. Let's move on.
Yeah.
This is Girl, Let Me Tell You. Now, here is where we give you a little story about what has happened during our week or something that we just want to tell you about. Luca, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can. So this just happened now, actually. I went downstairs to get something real quick, and what my brother's girlfriend is like at the house right now, and you know, it's fine. Like I genuinely don't care what he's doing with a girl over here, even though you guys heard the story last time where I walked in on them naked. But it's like
I'm sorry.
My grandparents asked my brother to like clean up the house because he's left a huge mess. So I go downstairs and what do I see? I'll give you guys a chance to guess.
Naked again?
No. My brother's girlfriend is cleaning up his mess.
Wow.
Oh, like that kind of mess?
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. And I'm just kind of like...
Yo, your brother...
is a scumbag. Like, he's such a scumbag, dude. Like, I don't even... Oh, my God. But yeah, she's
wrap
like...
it before you tap it. Keep it in the sock.
Yeah, I mean, okay, listen, sir. It was like a garbage mess, not a jizz mess, sir. Anyway, but...
Oh, my God.
But yeah, he was like... She's like sweeping and like wiping stuff down. And he's sitting on his Xbox playing a fucking sports game. And I'm just sitting there like...
Wow.
Whose man is this? I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Like, whatever. Jesus Christ. Like, words cannot express how disgusted I am with my brother, but whatever.
Oh, boy. It's something, right, where if the things that bother us about people and then we find that it's in our family, it's just so fucking bothersome. Like, how can you be related to me? You know? I feel like I oftentimes I do run into that in my family where I'm just like, ew, but like, are you my cousin? Ugh. Why? I don't like when people that are related to me or that are my friends turn out to be douches. Like, I don't. I like good people to be surrounded.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people know how I feel about my brother. I don't like him. I think he's a scumbag. But, you know, just like seeing this, I'm just kind of like, oh my God.
And like, why are you, doesn't it make you want to go up to her and just shake her and be like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, I mean, but she's a teenage girl, so, I mean, like, she's not going to listen to me. She doesn't even know me. Like, I'm not related to her. And I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I think, yeah, I don't know. And honestly, I wouldn't put it past him to be like cheating on her or stuff like that. Like, my sister talked about it before as well. She's like, yeah, I think he might be cheating on her because he genuinely is just a scummy person, you know?
Yeah.
So, whatever, she'll learn.
Good luck to her. Oh my God. And then did your grandmother see this yet?
My grandparents left the house, so.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Yeah. He's not setting a very good precedent there, that's for sure.
No one's going to see his being an asshole. Like, no, because it's always going to be your word against theirs. Like, anyhow. Yeah, that's annoying. I mean,
it's clear to me that he doesn't respect women, which baffles me because he's surrounded by women. But at the same time, it makes sense when the women in his life just give him whatever he wants, minus me. So.
Yeah. No, he's not setting a very good precedent because once he starts doing that and the more she starts doing it for him, then like basically it starts to fall into a trend. You know, it's like a lot of households, you know, like like the dishes. Most people won't do the dishes if they know there's always that one person in the house that will get up and do the dishes. Do you know what I mean? Like they'll sit there and they'll sit there and they'll sit there because you know that eventually that person will get annoyed enough that regardless they'll go and do it, you know? So you got to watch those precedents you set in life. So like I said, never do too much for people because they can take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's annoying. Best know that I will not be fucking cleaning your motherfucking mess if you have me over in your motherfucking house, because guess the fuck what? It's your motherfucking mess that you're supposed to be fucking cleaning. Like,
Yeah.
I will smack somebody if they ever. What?
Yeah, I mean, I wish someone I was dating would like fucking try that shit with me.
Like, hey baby, can you do me a favor? I would. What?
I'd be like, no, clean your shit up yourself.
Ooh.
See, that's the thing. When I was always dating girls before I got married, you know, like I would always make sure that if I had them at my place was always clean, that they didn't have to come over and do just about anything. I was always doing stuff for them. That's how I always ran it. Was never expecting them to go and tend to me hand and foot to get me a drink from the fridge or go clean up my mess. Like I always put my best foot forward, and I still do to this day. Like around my house here, I do a majority of the chores. Like I'm the one that cleans the washrooms most of the time, and I'm the one, and you know, and I don't have to be told to do it. I just do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, that got me heated. Anyhow.
See, the thing of it is, it's like if it's like a relationship where you guys have been together for a while and things are equal, like you do stuff for each other, and it's like, you know, yeah, I'll clean up after you, babe. Like it's no big deal. I know you're tired after work or some shit like that, right? That's like completely separate. But my brother is a fucking scumbag, so I don't expect anything good from him, you know?
Yeah.
Plus, they're teenagers, so come on.
But like,
Yeah.
she
Well,
doesn't
it's not going to
live
get any
there,
better,
yeah.
probably.
She doesn't live there, and obviously it's his mess. Like, what? No, this is wrong on very many in very many ways. I'm just gonna So Newf, what's your girl? Let me tell you.
Girl, let me tell you. Oh boy. That is a good one. That one I'm a little stumped for words at right now. Girl, let me tell you. I don't know. I often don't tell girls too many things.
Oh my god.
Unbelievable, sir. You tell me a lot of things, a lot of it that I don't want to hear, sir. Newf.
Girl, let me tell you about all my problems. I got 99 problems, but the bitch ain't one.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I'm kind of stumped on this one, so you can take it over.
All right. Well, okay, you guys know I stream. So this is a streaming story. I often have either public transportation stories or streaming stories for you guys. I'm sorry. That's just my life.
Hashtag blue on the bus.
I have one of those for later. But yeah, so I'm streaming and I'm playing Gears, of course. And I'm not in a party because I'm not playing with anybody. And so I have my mic on because I kind of forgot to turn it off, but also I don't give a fuck if it's on, you know, because sometimes I say important things. Why not? Just leave that shit on. But this time I actually did forget it was on. And so I'm here just talking to my stream and saying some, you know, interesting things and talking about how my team sucks. And someone messages me on Xbox Live and he puts, "Please shut up." What? Excuse me? I was like, is this boy for real? And then I see, and first of all, how are you going to tell me to please shut up when your ass is at the bottom of the motherfucking list? You know, like I have more kills than you and I'm doing way better at this game than you. And you're telling me to shut up when I'm giving you helpful advice, like what you should do in the game to, you know, possibly get good. And you're telling me to shut up? But you, bitch, you shut up. How about that? How about you don't go around telling people to shut up, because then you're going to hear their mouth. And here I am just going on a, like, you know, tangent, just yelling at this guy. And I'm just like, I don't understand why you think it's okay to fucking message someone on Xbox Live. First of all, we're playing a motherfucking game. You cannot be standing still while you're messaging me and not playing when we're trying to win this fucking game. What are you doing? then, second of all, I will not have you telling me to shut me. You're telling me to shut up? Are you stupid, sir? I'm gonna tell you something. You never in your life are gonna go around telling anybody to shut up, because I'm gonna let you have it. And then I see him standing still again, and I'm just like, oh, so you're standing still again, so you're not going to play now. This is going to happen. You're just going to keep messaging people because that's what you do. Instead of learning how to play this game and being good at this game, you're instead going to sit there and message somebody. I bet you're messaging me right now, aren't you, huh? And then he starts moving. And I'm just like, I don't know what you thought this was. I don't know if you were just like, maybe you're smoking, you're high, you're fucking, I don't know, drinking. Like, dude, do you know that there's a mute button on this game? Have you forgotten? Or maybe you just don't play. I guess maybe you don't play this game often, but you can mute me if you have a problem with what I'm saying. You're the only one on this motherfucking team that has a problem enough to message me something stupid like, please shut up. First of all, you're not telling anyone to shut up. How about you shut the fuck up? Right? And then I get another message, and it turns out he's like, stop being so rude. And I'm like, oh my God. So you're asking me to stop being rude when you decided to fucking tell me to shut up. You were the one that was rude first, and now you can't handle the heat because, I'm telling you exactly like it is. Yo, do me a favor and get your game up and get your captures up, because we're playing King of the Hill, and fucking get good at this game before you tell the person who's at the top of the list, the top of the fucking list, okay, to shut up, sir. Use the mute button if you have a problem with what I'm saying. And you can come to my stream and we can have a conversation if you want. And it turns out that he fucking quit the game. And I was like kind of talking to myself for like the half bit of it. And I was like, oh, this guy quits. Oh my God. And so yeah, that happened. And I'm just like, yo, don't message people. Just don't do it. Don't message people on Xbox Live unless you know what you're getting into, because that guy did not know what he was signing up for, and he did not know that he was talking to a boss ass bitch. Like, this is not happening. You're not gonna tell me to shut up. The fuck?
I would just like to say that you used a bunch of my sayings in that little rant of yours.
No, you have no sayings.
Yeah. Where you're like, I don't know what you thought this was, and then you're also like, first
you have
of all,
no sayings. All your sayings are sayings from the hood, silly.
You said first of
all.
Oh
my God.
But you said first of all, but there was no second of all. I just want to point that out.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I said first of all, blah, 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 and then I said second of all, blah, blah, blah.
You said first of all, blah, blah, second of all, blah, blah, and then you went on a spiel again, and you were like, first of all, again, but then there wasn't a second of all. So I just want to say that Blue...
you're telling me there wasn't a second of all.
Yeah.
That is not even a lot.
Yeah, I'm just like, that's something that I do. That's something I do. Like, oh, come on.
Oh, my God.
Hey, I got one, too, when you're ready.
Luca, you can't tell me that the things that I say are your lines when the things that I say are just things that I picked up from my hood.
But they are my lines. I haven't heard you
say whose line is it anyway?
Listen. We're just gonna be doing this all podcast long, I guess. Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying that she's taking lines from me, guys, and it's because I'm
taking lines from you.
I'm so innovative and inventful. So
okay.
Not surprised.
I'm just going to let you have that because I feel like sometimes you need things to help you feel better.
First of all, ma'am, I don't need anything to feel better because I feel awesome about myself all the time. I'm just saying that you're using, my lines, and I just want to say I appreciate it.
But I'm not using your...
But, like, every time someone uses one of my lines, I'm just like, man, that's pretty great because I am so awesome.
I'm not using...
But, like...
If you were a little bit more original, then maybe you could say that. But your lines...
I'm the most original person ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Newf. Continue.
Yeah, I do have a girl, let me tell you now. And this one bugs the shit out of me. I don't know if it bugs the shit out of you, but girl, let me tell you, put your mother bleeping phone away when you're in the mother bleeping lineup at the tills. Ugh. Damn, that shit drives me bonkers. Yeah, indeed, it drives me bonkers. It's nothing like, you're in a big ass lineup at the store and the cashier's trying to do her job, and it's usually like 9 chances out of 10. It's just some old ass lady, digging out her phone, just taking a text, or she's doing a phone call, and she's kind of giving that roll in her eyes and like, yeah, just a minute, cashier, just a minute. I'm on the phone. Like, can you not take that freaking phone call like when you get out to your car or wherever the hell you're going? Like, do you need to do it in a lineup and hold up the whole freaking store? And then it's even worse when they got like some little snot-nosed kid with them that's going around the till like, hey, mommy, look it. I'm gonna look you right in the fucking eyes and I'm gonna give you a big ass middle finger. Like, girl, let me tell you, put them phones away. Damn it. damn it, put that phones away. Like, Jesus, you
Damn.
don't need to have them out every 5 seconds.
Newf got a little bite of the rant bug. That's funny. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm just sitting. I mean, oftentimes I try not to get into it in public because I'm the type of person that once I get set off, as you heard, I kind of just I don't know when to stop, and I don't want to get in. I don't want to get arrested, guys. Like, this is something that I did not plan for myself in my life. And I know, especially around here, like, people have a lot of pride and they don't back down if you start some shit, right? So it's not gonna end in just like, yeah, okay, fine, bye. You know, it's there's gonna be a fight. So if I'm gonna say something to somebody here, like, put your fucking phone away, please, and pay attention to what the fuck you're doing. Yeah, it's not gonna end well. But yeah, that happens all the time here too. People, look, we say it every single show, and we're going to continue to say it. Please get your shit together. Okay? Okay. Let's move on. Our next topic for you guys today is interracial relationships. We definitely wanted to bring this up because Newf, we hear that you are in an interracial relationship, aren't you?
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's awesome.
It is. It's really awesome in a lot of different ways. And I'm guessing you're hoping they'll elaborate on this. I don't know what it is. I mean, honestly, ever since I was a younger boy, like I've always had a thing, I guess, for foreign girls, people of different cultures, that sort of thing. There's always an allure. You know what I mean? And especially, like, I grew up on the east coast of Canada in a predominantly white province where, like, you rarely ever got to see anybody else from a different culture. You know what I mean? It was so it was almost like a mystique there. And I always said to my mother, like, growing up, I said, hey, like, I don't know, at some point in my life, I'm probably going to marry somebody that's Asian or whatever it might be. And yeah, I am married to a lady from the Philippines. And I will point out that my wife was a citizen of Canada before she came here, because a lot of people often, you know, when they saw me with the girl, you know, the first speculation is, oh, maybe she's just with you for, well, in the States you say a green card, here it's just to get their citizenship. But no, that wasn't the case. She was a citizen before we even tied the knot. You know, that sort of, I didn't have to go through those sorts of hassles and have that ask those questions to myself. Is she really with me for me, or is she going to dump me the moment she gets her citizenship? So that wasn't the case. But no, she's a lovely woman. She tolerates me. She understands me. She enjoys me. We got a very great relationship. Obviously, with some of the shit that I say, and Luca could probably attest to this, that I probably do have a very special woman. She just goes with the flow. She knows that's me. She knows I have a very off-the-wall sense of humor. But I love different cultures because I think it's a great way to integrate yourself. It's a great way of understanding other people, whether it doesn't matter where you're from in the world, but it's a great way to learn, you know, about their heritage, about their history, about their cuisine, those sorts of things. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all want to be loved and be loved and give love right back. You know what I mean? And, right. Yeah, like, and I think it's fantastic. Now, one nice little thing about the Philippines is that one of their secondary languages is technically English. And if you go to the Philippines, just about everybody there speaks some, like, English to a decent degree, which makes it a little bit easier. My wife speaks and understands very good English. Unfortunately, and I have to admit, and I'm embarrassed by saying it, but I don't understand Tagalog very well yet. It's something I do want to learn, but I don't know it very well yet. So at some point in time, I do have to pick it up. Oddly enough, I know, like, a lot of the swear words and the dirty words, but I can't remember everything else. Yeah. But I think it's great. I encourage people to be interracial. I think we're seeing more of it now because the generations are moving along. Whereas like the old generations, everybody was very narrow minded. You know, like it was like, no, you must marry within your own race or your own class or whatever, and it was so stupid. Now I think it's more encouraged. People are more accepting of it, and I totally encourage it because it gives you a better understanding of who we are as human beings. And sure, there's always going to be certain little differences the way you're raised or brought up, but at the same time, again, it helps. It really helps get rid of those barriers that often lead to things like racism and prejudice and stereotypes and stuff like that, and it gives you a good perspective.
So, with interracial relationships, while I do agree that it's an amazing thing and it's awesome. I do know that there are some issues that you face with that, and so I just wanted to ask if there. I know you said that people often judge you guys in terms of thinking that you guys are together for, citizenship, but are there any other issues that you have faced that may very well have to do with racism?
Yeah, well, I know when we first originally moved into our building, for example, we had this particular landlord, an older white lady, that always seemed to kind of give us a bit of grief about different things, stuff that was very non-sequential. And I approached her one day and I really give her a piece of my mind. I said, are you giving us this much grief? I said, because we're really doing something wrong, or you literally just don't like the fact that my wife is Filipino. And a lot of you people here tend to look down on the Filipino community because you think they're all one way or another. And that still happens. I know my wife still has trouble getting employment in various areas because she's very qualified. As a matter of fact, she's probably overqualified to do a lot of the jobs. But again, she's looked at immediately as like a large portion of the Filipino community that we have in the city where I am. A lot of them happen to be in the in the minimum wage workforce, right? So they're either fast food employees or they're working, in the hotel chains. It's just the way that it turns out to be. But there's lots of very smart, very intelligent, very well educated Filipino community here, but like I said, they have that hard time breaking out of the stereotype. You know what I mean? And where it goes as far as racial stuff, sometimes it's hard to differentiate exactly what is constituted as pure racism. Some of it's just stereotypes that you feel that person has to be in a certain job or look and act a certain way, those sorts of things. So I think we've experienced it, and I'm pretty sure we will continue to experience certain things. And as I said, one difference with me, and I do see this here, I see lots of old, like white dudes with very young Filipino ladies. And it kind of, I'm not saying they're not in love, but it almost looks obvious. And I suppose I technically can't blame some people for thinking that way. But me and my wife, we're in the same age category. So it doesn't look like, oh, well, look at that old geezer with that like 20-year-old girl. Like, you know what I mean? So we don't have that going against us. But yeah, it was nice to know that when we got married, it was on our own terms. It wasn't because of any things that could come up. So I do feel bad for a lot of people in interracial relationships because, again, they will face some of those stereotypes and certain racist things probably throughout their life. But as far as going to restaurants or regular things, it hasn't been too bad. But I'm sure my wife gets excluded sometimes from different things too because she is of the Asian culture.
I think it's really annoying when people, like, why do people care? Like oftentimes Latinos are the same, where they just want you to stick to, whatever ethnicity that you are, to sort of keep it, quotes, of course, to keep it pure and to sort of continue the lineage. But I feel like you don't lose your culture if you are able to bring that to your children's lives. There are people who are born here that, they might be of Latino descent, or let's say if they are, because there are different kinds of Latinos people. I hope you all know this. But if you are Dominican and you have a parent that was born in Dominican Republic, or both parents are born in Dominican Republic, and you were born here in the States, oftentimes people lose that culture. They lose oftentimes they don't even speak Spanish, and that in the Latino culture is it's looked down upon if you're Latino and you don't speak Spanish, and
Right.
that's that's a whole nother thing. But people are so afraid of losing their culture, but they're losing it anyway. So I don't understand why there's this issue of being with someone and having children with someone that is outside of your ethnicity or your race, when oftentimes even within that it's lost. So I personally feel like we're moving towards that as a people anyway. We are moving to a new world where people are mixed, and so it's harder to pinpoint who is and isn't
Absolutely.
allowed, let's say, for example.
Yeah, let me just say that culture should define us, but it should never divide us.
Yeah, it's a great saying, bro. Definitely. I I agree with a lot of what you have to say, Noof.
What about the culture shock that you might feel if you date someone from another background?
Sorry.
Oftentimes people date someone who is a different culture than they are or they're used to. And I mean, like you said, your wife speaks English, but you don't speak the language that she speaks, correct?
Mhm.
And so when I don't know if you've met her family or when you're around the people that other Filipinos, do you feel a culture shock when you are trying to sort of get to know her culture and things like that?
Uh, yes and no. Like generally no, because the Filipino people, their culture, they're very inviting. They're very very accepting culture. That sort of thing, and they did like honestly, they don't care. They love everybody. They have a lot of kindness and love, and they give that generously, and they expect nothing in return. Just a language barrier can make things a little bit difficult. Like for me, when I went to the Philippines a few years ago, um, I had no issues, but I did feel a little embarrassed that I hadn't learned the language and I couldn't communicate back with them the way I wanted to, even though I knew they were trying their best to communicate with me. Like a lot of them do speak English, some of them maybe not so well. And because obviously, when we take this for granted, when we're speaking in our native tongue, we often speak we speak like we normally speak, and we speak very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what language it is, like we forget that they can't understand us as well when we're speaking very fast because they lose a lot of verbs and nouns and the way words sound. So I felt a little bit embarrassed that I don't, and even to this day, it's something I definitely need to do. I admit that. But I guess I haven't felt as much of a strong need to learn because I've been predominantly been in Canada for 98% of the time, where I'm surrounded by English speaking people. So that's part of the reason. But like I said, they do know English. A lot of their culture over there, that's like their second language. They're taught it in school. So it's one of those few countries in the world where you could literally go to and know that almost anybody there can understand you because they have some sense of, English comprehension. So.
And so, what issues have you faced, or what issues do you hear about people facing when they are dating someone that is of a different culture in terms of maybe your beliefs or the way you think to raise children or the differences? Because in my experience, there's oftentimes things like beliefs of what religion, for example, we will be teaching our children, or beliefs about how they should be raised in terms of if they should be speaking the language, maybe, for example, that your wife knows. Things like that, because in a relationship, of course, there's always issues, right? But then it becomes even more so of an issue if you two were raised in completely different environments, and you oftentimes clash when you believe particular things should be handled different ways.
Yeah. Well,
um
I think definitely religion is usually one of the biggest factors or hangups in some of those interrelational marriages or relationships. And it usually stems from the parents who are very set in a certain style of their culture or their ways. And this is what I'm saying. Like as each generation passes, I find that that rope tends to slacken. It gets a little bit looser. And at the end of the day, I personally think that when you're in a relationship with each other, it's something you have to discuss, but it's something that I think it's your relationship, it is your life, and it is your choice as to how you raise your children or where you go from that point. Like, I don't think parents should dictate, oh, well, I go to this church, you must go to this church too, and you must believe in this God or that God or whatever else. I think it's your life. You set your own path, and how you want to raise your children is up to you. Honestly, I'd probably look at my parents and give them the big old middle finger and say, you know what? I love this lady. Stay the F out of my relationship. You don't like it and don't support it, well, then get the hell out of my life. That's just the way I feel about it.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of people eventually get to that point, especially when they're with their partner. However, the wishes of their parents, I mean, that's something that's hard to combat against. Take me, for instance, I've dated a lot of people outside of my race, and the biggest issue I've had, especially with dating like white people, is that when it comes to certain race related issues, like what's going on with the police killing unarmed Black people and the stuff happening in Charlottesville, the use of the N word, a lot of the times I notice that they just don't understand and can't comprehend why I get upset about these certain things. So, at least for me, that was like the biggest issue in our relationship. Also, my mother is pretty, like, well, my family in general is pretty staunchly against me dating outside of my race. But my mom likes a lot of Latino men. So I kind of just like, I roll with that. I'm like, whatever you say, mother. And, my siblings are half Mexican. So obviously, like, that is a thing that happened there. But with my grandparents, especially, they are very against dating outside your race, which is understandable considering the time period they grew up in, where racism was a lot more prevalent and undeniable.
Yeah, it's interesting how those things work when it comes to, and a lot of the time I think it's mostly it mostly happens when people have children, where you oftentimes have to think about, if you are with the person that you had the children with, you have to think about, when you're raising them, what kinds of things you want to introduce to them. And while I think it's important to make sure your children are cultured and they know from what they are from, like what culture they're from, and they know, a little bit about it, so that they have some kind of identity. I think it's important that you sort of at least have your options there, and then you can kind of delve into it if you want, or if you don't want to, that's also fine. I feel like a lot of the times people don't have that, and it kind of, not that it makes you less of a person or less interesting or anything like that, but it seems as though people oftentimes feel as though they don't have something more, that can kind of be added to them as a person. But I do notice things like that mostly come up when children are involved. But what advice do you guys have for people who date someone outside of their race? Me personally, I think it's important to keep an open mind. I know that if you date someone that's outside of your race, and you feel as though something that they do might be just different, there's a reason why you were attracted to them in the first place and decided to date them. So I'm sure that there's some open-mindedness when it comes to that. But at the same time, there are other things that you don't notice until you're like deeper in the relationship, and when you live together especially, other things come out. And so I feel like it's important to sort of not make them erase that part of them. Don't date someone outside of their race and then make them into what you want them to be, which is what your culture may be. You know what I mean? Like, don't try and change them. Embrace that side of them, and maybe learn something about it, and maybe partake. That's also nice. Not saying that you also have to be what they are or try to be what they are, but just sort of like, if you guys exchange sort of information about the cultures, it could be nice. It could be something that you'll learn something about. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree.
Newf, what advice would you have for someone?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, is try to be understanding. Try to again, it's learn how to be fair and compromise, and most importantly, is just be patient because things take time.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's comprehending and learning a new language or getting used to a different type of cuisine, you know what I mean. And it obviously is going to take a lot more for the person, say, who's making the adjustment as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to the person that's settling. For example, if I go to the Philippines, I would have to make a lot more adjustments than my wife would have to make. And it's been vice versa, right? Because she moved to Canada. So she's had to adapt to, English as a first language. She's had to adapt to our traffic, our country, our laws, our social system, all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
again, you have to remember why you fell in love in the first place. And for some people, it's just the diversity. It's that, that's what attracts them to a relationship, is knowing there's going to be differences, there's going to be some challenges, and it's how you overcome those challenges together that you make a fantastic relationship together. And again, it is awesome though when your parents, and this is something I've had the blessing of, is that our parents on both families have been very accepting. There hasn't been
Mm-hmm.
any backlash. There hasn't been any friction, which sometimes often
That's awesome.
causes those relationships to dissipate. Is
Right.
actually the friction that comes from the parents or the siblings, as opposed to the relationship itself. And that's very sad
Mm-hmm.
because if you're making your relationship work on your own, but it's the influence and stuff of others, that's so sad. It's because you drive you away. It's like at the end of the day, it's you and the person you're with that has to be happy, not the rest of them. But it is nice when they accept you, they support you. I mean, personally, I love everything about the Philippine culture. They've got a beautiful country there as well, and like I said, the people are so nice. They're very, because of the culture that they're in, they're very accepting and they're very aware of the surroundings and very thankful for the things that they're graced with in life, whether it's health or riches or whatever it may be. And the only thing personally that I've had trouble with adjusting with my particular relationship has been the cuisine. I have to admit, I'm not a huge fan of rice, and I don't generally like a lot of the stuff that my wife tries to cook or a lot of the Philippine cuisine. Honestly, just some of it is
What do you mean you don't like rice? It's rice.
I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of. I'd much rather have French fries any day of the week. Like I'm a steak and potatoes kind of guy up here in Canada. That's who I am. The burgers, French fries, that sort of stuff. Pizza. I don't really care too much for rice and 50 different types of fish, especially fish that looks like it's about ready to crawl off my damn plate or give me diarrhea if I eat it. So
Oh my
I
god.
make that known to my wife. You know what? And she cooks her own deal, and I cook my own shit. I don't for me and vice versa. But she generally loves like I guess what you call traditional Canadian cuisine. I'm just not so keen on a lot of the Philippine stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you work your way around it. Like, you'll have different meals. That's fine. But I mean, I love rice. But yeah, definitely something to think about. I think that I think that this hopefully this helps someone. And if you guys have stories of interracial relationships, definitely let us know in the comments below. And we would like to hear some more from you guys. So moving on. This is Fuck That Shit, where we give you a little a little rant about them stupid ass shit that happens to us. I would like to take the first one because honestly, like, I have a PSA for you guys, okay? And if you don't know what that means, public service announcement. So oftentimes, as you know, I take the bus or the train to a lot of places that I go. And unfortunately, it means that I have to deal with some fucking crazy or annoying or stupid ass people. All right. Well, I'm sitting down on the train, and the train is kind of sort of, if you sit at the end near the doors where they open, there's sort of, it's kind of like open, so it's not like cut off from where the doors are. And a lot of the times people stand right next to you where the doors are because they like to stand right near the doors, I guess, to sort of have an exit. I don't know. It's fine. That I don't have a problem with that part. What I have a problem with is someone leaning against the pole that is sort of on my end of the seat, and my shoulder is there. And so next thing I know, someone's leaning back and I have an ass cheek on my shoulder for like, for some reason, I don't understand why this person didn't realize they were putting their ass on my shoulder. But yeah, I had an ass cheek on my shoulder, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, are you serious, dude? Like, is this happening right now? So I'm trying to move away, and then it's not really working because someone's sitting beside me, and so I'm kind of just like trying to push them, you know, so that they can realize, like, hey, you know, your butt is on my shoulder. Can you move a little bit? No, that didn't work either. So finally I just got up and I was like, fuck it. It's not even worth it. I just need people to know that if you're in public and you're near someone, can you please be aware of what you're doing with your body? I would like for you not to put your butt on my shoulder. My shoulder is clean. I don't know where your ass has been. I don't know how dirty or clean you are. Like, I need to get to where I'm going without booties being on my shoulder and in my face. Yeah, let's not do that, guys. So, public service announcements for you guys. And fuck that shit. Please. Thanks. Newf, if you would like to go. What would you like to say fuck that shit to this week, Newf?
Fuck that shit. The people that don't put on pit stick. My God, I hate being around people that fucking smell like they just washed their armpit in a bag of fucking onions. It's disgusting. And there are some, I don't know why people don't, but like, dude, I don't care who you are, whether you're a man, woman, and most importantly, especially if you happen to be a hairy-ass under armpit male, yeah, you tend to stink a lot more than other people. I can't leave the house without putting on my own pit stick, because trust me, there has been a couple of times in my life where I've forgotten to put it on for whatever reason, and you get home and you're like, oh my God, I hope that wasn't me that stinks like that. And especially when you got to spend time on a subway or a bus or a plane and that person isn't wearing a nice pit stick, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get a migraine just smelling your stinky ass. That's when I say fuck that shit too. Put on your pit stick.
But you call it a pit stick? Is that really what it's called?
Yeah, underarm deodorant, fucking, you know, what do you call underarm deodorant, or at least an antiperspirant or something.
I've never heard it called pit stick. That's so funny.
Well, now you learned something new. I call it a pit stick.
I need to use that now. Pit stick. I have never heard that before. That is hilarious. Oh my God. Put your pit stick on. Damn it.
That's right. Put your fucking pit stick on.
Yeah, seriously. Are there trains where you live, like, or buses?
Yeah, we got buses, we got subway systems, we got the transit. Yeah, you name it, man. And yeah, they're all here, and there's you're guaranteed at least once a week, almost, if you ride it enough, to smell someone that does not wear their damn pit stick.
Yeah, so people make fun of me because I'm always talking about that stuff, but like, yeah, I've had my fair share of no pit stick wearing people. Oh my God, pit stick, I love it. Yeah, I don't like it. It's not fun. I don't want to smell that. My nose, please, my poor nose. Have you ever had to put, like, oh my God, okay, don't laugh at me. One time I had to put some lotion, some good smelling lotion, like under my nose so that I could not smell the person anymore. And it worked for a little time, but like, oh, the smell is so bad.
Can I ask you a question? I've always struggled with this now that we're on this topic. How do you guys tell, like, I don't know what you do with you ladies, if you have a subtle way of telling, but when you know that person, and trust me, we all at least know one person in their life that basically goes through most of their life stinking. And you're like, how do you be polite and not hurt their feelings or make them depressed or some shit? Like, how do you tell them, like, dude, you need to wash and put some shit on because you stink all the time of sweat, piss, or fucking ass crack? Like, either or. Like, come on.
I mean, it's one of those topics. It's just something that people are gonna get bothered. Like, it's embarrassing. So you just gotta sort of throw it out there. Don't be rude about it. Like, you fucking stink. Just be like, hey, I don't want you to get upset. And I'm doing this to help you. But I don't know if your deodorant is working for you. Which brand do you use? You know, something like that.
Because I can honestly tell you, if I smell, I would prefer that my friend comes to me and tells me to smell. Because honestly, I won't be upset. I will be thankful, because I don't want to go around in public knowing that I'm smelling, whether it be my breath or my ass or my armpits or whatever it might be. I don't want to be smelly. I don't want other people to go, oh my God, that guy, because that's embarrassing. I don't want to be that person that people talk about when you leave the party. You know, like, oh my God, I couldn't stand being around him for 15 minutes. He smelled like absolute shit. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't want to be that person. I want to smell good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't I don't know. Yeah, I want to smell good too. So if I smell, please just let me know, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, I will not be offended. I will be thankful because then I will do something about it and I will smell like a fucking roses. You know what I mean? And, like, change your underwear. There's some people I'm pretty sure that don't change their underwear like every day, and like some of that can get freaking smelly. Or their socks. I have a friend who comes over to my house, and his socks are so fucking bad. Like it makes me nauseous. They're stinky. Like they look like he's wore them in. You know when your feet get wet sometimes, and people keep their socks on despite they get wet. You know, and then they all of a sudden they start to reek. Yeah, it's that weird way.
Oh, gross.
That's gross.
What about
It's
you?
gross.
Luca?
I can smell. I'm sitting there watching a movie, and I'm like, my eyes are starting to fucking water. I'm like, jeez.
Oh my God. Tell your friend though, because that's kind of disgusting. Like, dude, you need new sneakers.
Yeah.
He probably has he has fungus probably, athlete's foot.
Ugh.
Yeah, he needs new
Jeez.
sneakers and new socks and medication.
I mean, sometimes people can't help it so much. Like sometimes people do have medical conditions where they tend to smell a little bit more one way or the other, those sorts of things. But, you know, if you're like it all the time, I mean, because we all have those bad days once in a blue moon, but some people are like it. Like you could go out with them on 20 different trips to like the supermarket or a movie, and like 19 out of 20 times they're like, ugh. You know, so that's a problem. But if it's like the odd time, okay, I'm making the exception to the rule, but don't smell like it all the time.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Luca? What's your fuck that shit this week?
My fuck that shit is, okay, so last night I went to go see it again with one of my friends, one of my dudes, and we got really good seats in the theater. It wasn't too crowded. It was a good showing, right? A good time to go. However, as I was walking into the theater, I heard this crowd of young people behind me, just loud and acting up, and I was just like, man, please don't be going to see it. Please don't be going to see it. Please don't go. Okay, what do you know? This fucking group of young people end up sitting behind me and talking throughout the entire movie. I was so angry. Like, it wasn't even like whispering. They were like yelling and like, oh, don't go in there, bitch, you got me fucked up. I'm like, bruh. And I was sitting next to my friend, and my friend, like, I've known him for 3 years. He was looking at me like, don't do it. Do not do it, because he already knows that I have anger issues. Like, I've gone off on him a bunch of times. And I'm just like sitting in my seat contemplating the pros and cons of telling them to shut the fuck up. But I ended up not saying anything because I was like, you know what? I'm trying to get home safe.
Exactly.
Destiny too.
Or not arrested.
Not arrested or have these fucking people attack me. So
fuck you up.
Let me just stay silent. But as I got up, after the movie was over, I said very loudly, I was like, man, some people just can't help themselves. They just fucking can't shut the fuck up during a movie. And then I walked away. So,
you walked away real quick.
Very little passive aggressiveness.
That's when you need to have the little sign on your phone that says shut the fuck up, and you just hold it up and you turn on your little screen thing and point the phone back toward them and be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I really don't you are going to a movie to fucking watch the movie. Shut up. Shut up. I do not get that. Even when I'm with my friends, I try not to speak too much, like when we're in the movie. Like, I try not to say anything, you know. I'll make a passing comment here and there, but the entire movie, they're like, oh shit, oh, you must got me fucked up. Oh, I would never do. I'm like, bro, but like, why? I just like,
no, I hate that shit too.
Like,
yeah,
it's
seriously.
so irritating. I don't.
You know what's worse? When they're talking so much fucking shit and then their breath stinks. How about that? Have you ever had that? Because I had that, and that shit was not fun. And I'm sitting there just like, please close your mouth, please, I beg of you. And they're just like, and you just smell just like, ugh.
That reminds me of a joke where one guy gave this guy his friend had bad breath, so his guy chews some spearmint gum, and then the guy blows breath in his face. He's like, so what does my breath smell like now? And his friend replies, Jesus, man, your breath smells like somebody's shit in the spearmint bush.
Oh my god, that's bad. Oh, even gum can't save you. Jesus Christ. Lord, what the fuck? All
Some
right.
people have halitosis.
Oh my god, that's horrible. Let's let's move on to our next topic. This is but why though? Some of these people need to be under but why though. But we'll have more for you guys, cuz honestly, but why? But why though? For example, mine, I am in the playground, right, with the little children that I care for. And the playground is fairly empty, so no one really saw what was happening. But some dude decided that he would go to the sprinklers. Mind you, this is where the children play. They get wet in the sprinklers. Now he decides to go to the sprinklers and freaking drench himself in water. And then he starts taking off his hat and like rubbing behind his ears and like rubbing his face and then just like rubbing his arm. And I'm like, yo, is he showering? Because you know you need soap for shower, right? Because like he's just using water. And it wasn't that hot of a day. It was in the morning. It was still brisk out. And he's just like rubbing, and then he continuously takes off his hat and like fills it with water and then dumps it on his head. And I'm like, oh my God, I think this guy is kind of psycho, because he's doing a very strange action here and there's like no sense to it. And I'm just like, I don't know if I should leave or if I should record this motherfucker or if and then I start writing it down, because I'm like, yeah, speak people need to hear this shit. But why though, dude? Why are you showering and not really showering because you're just using water in the kids' sprinklers in the playground? Like, this is, what are you doing? And then also, he wasn't homeless. He had some nice ass sneakers on, a nice ass hat, some nice ass jeans and shirt. And I was surprised that he was fucking all his stuff up, because like, if you wet all of that, it's kind of weird, you know. Like, do you think it's gonna? I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he did look a little like under the influence, so there was that. But I just feel confused about why he was just there wetting himself in the kids' sprinklers. And then he decides that he's going to jump on top of, because the sprinklers in the playground that we were at are like dolphins. So he decides to jump on top of the dolphin and just like put his face in the spray of the dolphin and just sort of sit there like he's a gargoyle crouching. And I was just like, this guy looks extremely scary. Like, I really felt like I probably should have left, but at the same time I was just like, this is too good to look away.
Wasn't a homeless guy, was he? Just trying to get a shower or what?
I don't think he was homeless. He looked complete. He had a fitted on and like nice sneakers. I think he was just high, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
I thought for a second you were going to say he sat on the dolphin to wash his ass crack or something.
No. Oh my God. No, I would have called the cops, because that is inappropriate. No, he didn't touch himself anywhere other than his like face and his arms. But like, he didn't even get his armpits. So I don't know if he was actually showering. It just seemed like I guess maybe he just wanted to feel the water on him. I don't know. It was very strange. Like, I just wish he
probably just consumed a bag of meth and he was feeling kind of hot.
I think something like that must have been happening, because his eyes were really weird. Like, he was just like, I don't know. It was weird. I just had to write it down for speak, and I was like, I got to tell people that these people are strange that are around here. And yeah, that was interesting. I'm just staring at him too, because I didn't know what the fuck to do, and he didn't pay us any mind. He was just in his own little world, and he was just like rubbing his face over and over again, and like it looked like he was getting some kind of pleasure from it, because his eyes were like fluttering, his eyelids, and so I was just like, what is wrong with this guy? Anyway. Yeah, that was weird. What about you, Newf? What's your but why though?
But why though? Why do some people continue to wear clothes that are like 3 times too freaking small? I mean, I don't understand it. I can honestly, I applaud you for having confidence and courage to wear whatever it is that you like to wear, but try to buy clothes that at least have some sense of style and fit, because seeing people's gigantic bellies dangling out through these miniature t-shirts or plumber butts coming at you everywhere when they bend over just about 3 inches to pick up their kid out of of a freaking stroller. I don't want to see ass cracks and fucking stomachs rolling out all over the place. Like, you might as well be naked at this point if you're going to show off most of your goods anyway. Like, what the hell, people? There are clothes places out there that can sell clothes. If not, you can always modify your mother's curtains and put them on because it would look more sexy and sensible than some of that shit. It's why? Like, it's like, and I see it way too often there. You see just, you know what I mean? And, like the yoga pants can be sexy. They can also be horrid. If the fucking back of your legs are starting to look like a goddamn orange peel went crazy, then something not good looking there either. Like, you know, like I'm a big guy. And when I pick out my clothes, I purposely pick it out to one, look good and know that I'm comfortable in it and it fits. I'd rather have baggy and loose clothes on than stuff that's like strapped tight so I can't breathe. Like, what's the purpose? I've even seen guys as bad. Some guys that will have these white ash wash pants on and their fucking dick is hanging down their leg. Like, I don't want to see the imprint of your fucking dong. Like put on some jogging pants or something. My God.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you if it were like women or men, but I guess it's everyone. Oh my God.
It's everywhere.
I feel like I have seen that. Here it's kind of like it's the new thing to do. It's like the new fashion to sort of wear tighter clothes, but I think people take it a little too far because if you bend down and I can see your ass crack, you might have too small of a shirt on. Just saying. Ass crack is supposed to be hidden, guys. just saying. I don't know. I don't think it's I don't know if you want your ass crack to be shown to the world, especially if it's like a hairy, ass crack. I mean, I'm just saying, and you should know if your clothes don't fit you. Anyway, what about you, Luca?
My but why though is I don't understand. We all heard about the PewDiePie situation, right? With him saying the N-word and then I'm going to let people know that he accidentally almost said it again after he apologized. So there's that. But during the entire situation where he said the N-word and he almost said the N-word, I wasn't even upset about PewDiePie saying it. Like, I was kind of like, whatever. It was everyone who was defending him. And I got a lot of people coming out of the woodwork, people I didn't even know existed, and a couple of my mutual people on Twitter, like, defending him to me. And I was just like, but why? Like, I don't understand why you think that I care that you think that it's not a big deal that he said it. Like, that doesn't matter to me, Yeah. And I don't understand why people are defending this guy either. Like, what has he done for you? Mm-hmm. If anything, they were probably just defending their own right to use the word, but whatever. Like, I don't get it. Like, and I don't get why people were coming to me about it either. I wish people could leave me alone when it comes to this stuff. Like, I have my opinions and I have my thoughts and feelings about certain things that I'm not going to budge on, and like serious topics like racism and sexism and a bunch of stuff like that. Those topics, I'm not going to bend my will or opinion with it. So everyone's just wasting their time when they come to me trying to say, hey, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I don't understand why people do that either. There's no defending a racial slur. It doesn't matter if the person didn't use it in the context that you believe it should be used in. It's important to realize that people keep saying, oh, they're just words don't hurt or some shit like that. Like, come on. If you have enough influence, then words do hurt. Like, there's a reason why they're called slurs. I think it's important for you to be aware of you and what you say and who you are, and then who you support. If you support someone who freely feels super comfortable saying a racial slur, then you should probably think about yourself as a person. But this goes for everyone, not just for that person in particular. Just anyone that you support, if you notice that they say some shit and they are aware of what they're saying and yet they still do it, you should probably rethink who you're supporting. Just saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we were talking about this on one of the podcasts and said I don't think he's as guilty about or he's sincere about saying sorry. He's guilty. He got caught. That's like he's sorry he got caught. I don't know if he's sorry that he said what he said. I mean, in this day and age, there's a billion other words you can say when you're angry and upset, but to say one that's clearly offensive and is clearly non-appropriate, and even how he said it, it wasn't even said in a jokingly fashion. It was kind of said very seriously. So like we always said, and your parents probably told you this growing up in school, it's sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it, which is just as bad as what was said in the first place. And I don't know how that toolbox got fucking popular in my own opinion in the first place, but oh man, it's just nasty. It's uncalled for. And I don't condone it whatsoever. I don't care. It's wrong. Whatever. I don't condone it. That's all I'll say on the matter. And I hope that he reaps his just desserts for because the guy's making millions of dollars and he has all these followers. And I hope he certainly loses lots of followers, because I thought he was an idiot before. Now he's just a bigger idiot.
Yeah, I don't think it's okay, people, for you to just say things like it doesn't matter. It matters. Please remember that it matters. And if someone tells you, you might have said something that is like offensive, just listen to them and then see if you maybe want to talk about it or have a conversation about it. I know that it's a touchy subject. All these things, it's hard to tell people, like that they're wrong. No one really wants to be wrong, and we all make mistakes, but I just feel like this is not the first time, so there's that. And hopefully that shit gets resolved. Anyhow, let's move on to our next segment. This is Plugs, where we tell you where you can find us and our content. I do want to thank you, Newf, for coming on the show today. We really do appreciate you being here. Tell us where we can find you.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you ladies for having me. I know it took a lot of courage and gumption to bring me on this podcast, not knowing what version of Newf Nukem we were going to get today. I left Cletus at home, so people were wondering. I barred him in the closet for today. Didn't want him getting loose on this podcast because we don't know what he might say or do. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show. I hope that my insight and my thoughts were welcome, appreciated, and maybe also gave some people some insight as well. You guys can find me regularly on Xbox Live at Newf Nukem, Newf_Nukem on PlayStation Network. I do have a channel. It is also Newf Nukem, and you will find me in my regular time spot on 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday nights on the Console Corner with a great cast and crew, as well as usually on Xbox Nation on Wednesday nights with Crap Gamer and company. So I appreciate the love and support, everybody. You're awesome. Everybody in the chat as well. Great cast of people out here again today. So thanks so much for coming out and watching. Appreciate it. And ladies, again, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really appreciate you being here. And thank you for locking Cletus up. Maybe on another type of episode where we get crazy, we'll let him out. We'll definitely keep you in mind for that. I wonder if that could be funny.
But, speak with Cletus.
Oh my god, that would be insane.
Instead of just like inviting Newf on the show, it's like all Newf's alternate personalities come out.
Luca, what about you? Where can we find you?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, Newf. I have a lot of love for this guy here, and I'm just happy that you took time out of your day to come and spend a little time talking about your life.
Absolutely.
You can find me at TheAshenLuca on Twitter and also on Xbox Live. And you can find me on RDX Podcast. That's every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Dealer Gaming's channel. And I just want to say shout out to everyone in the chat, especially you, Daz, if you decide to listen later. We appreciate you guys being here, as always, and contributing. It really means a lot to all of us that you're willing to share parts of your lives with us. And it means something. It really does mean something. So thank you.
We do appreciate everyone that stops by live and just speaks to us in the chat, and we do appreciate everyone that listens later and throws some comments down below. Tell us a little bit about you if you weren't here live. We like to hear your stories, and if you definitely related to all the topics that we talked about in the show, let us know. Give us your opinions. We are taking submissions. If you would like to be part of the show in your own little way, just send us an email, whether it's a text email, we'll read it aloud, or if you want to send us a voicemail, please do. Speakpodcast@gmail.com is where you can send them. And we are looking forward to your submissions. If you guys are interested, you can find me on Twitch. I do stream a lot. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays is usually when I stream. Send me a follow if you would like to get notified. There is also a Discord where we kind of talk about this show along with other, things that we do. All the links are down below. You can find our Twitters down below. And yeah, throw us a follow if you are interested. We appreciate all of you. And thank you again, Newf, for coming by.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you again. And have a good day. Bye.